Alright guys, so we are back with another Raid Shadow Legends video. I hope everyone is keeping well. Today we're going to be taking down stage 24 of the Phantom Shogun's Grove using a speed farm strategy that I've been using for the past few months. And this video is actually brought to you thanks to you guys in the comment section below, especially in my Whisper Guide video where I was showcasing this variation of team. And then I noticed I've actually not made any guide since the actual release of this boss during its launch, and back then there was some changes to the stone skin and who I was prioritizing the highest crit damage for my enfeebled tank and all of that good stuff. So I thought it was just a good idea to make an updated guide for you guys, just so there's one set in stone on the channel, right? And the team that we are going to be using is as so, but I'm going to speak about how you can change specific champions, and I'm also going to remove Riho Bonespear from the mix to show how you can use a composition and still take this down. Now, Gnut will be the pinnacle of this team due to his max HPs, and he was a recent fusion that hopefully many of you guys got your hands on him, a phenomenal champion. And then I've also got Whisper, who's an absolute boss killer. And I think this was one of the main reasons why you guys wanted to see how I've been building these champions. Now, I'll also speak about how to replace with a Renegade, which we won't be demonstrating in this video, but I will leave a link in the description of Saf from HH Gaming, who managed to do that. And I'll just show you a brief clip of it later in today's video as well. Now, in terms of the boss itself, there's something that I wanted to discuss because apparently in a new update that's going to be happening somewhat soon from their Raid Digest, and it's going to be with the Scourge Sword, which currently attacks one enemy, will prioritize attacking all enemies under enfeebled debuffs, and after attacking removes all buffs from all enemies except the initial target. Will then apply a debuff spread effect, taking an enfeebled debuff from the initial target and placing it on all enemies, and then also placing that decreased defense on enemies that had the enfeebled debuff placed on them. Now, if we just bring up the Raid Digest very briefly from their Discord, one thing that I want to pay note to is this part here, and I think that's been overlooked by a lot of people, where debuffs that the Akomori, the Phantom Shogun's ability, the Scourge Sword, which we just spoke about, spreads, will become resistible and blockable starting from the next big update. Now, from this, I was actually trying to read into the kit and understand how this is actually going to work, because after attacking, he does remove all buffs from all enemies except the initial target. Now, when it comes down to the phasing, if you can put the block debuffs up before the spread, I'm kind of thinking maybe we'll be able to block the enfeeble from getting spread, therefore the decreased defense won't go active as well, and might mitigate the amount of cleansers that we've got implemented into the mix if you're just keeping your one enfeeble tank. But I'll definitely be diving into this since the release of that with the new update, whatever it is, and keep you notified of some new compositions. But it is an interesting take because the resistance on these champions, or on this boss in particular, if I just bring it up briefly. So he actually has 345 speed, which is bonkers, but also the accuracy is crazy as well. So being able to resist that, I'm not too sure how many players have, gear level of that caliber to resist that on a consistent basis. But maybe implementing increased resistance buffs might become a thing, or just these block debuffs champions before the actual spread happens. But once again, comes down to the phasing, because I'm a little bit worried about the cleansing of the buffs. So we're going to have to be speed tuning our team correctly to make sure that's going up on time every single time, unless you're speed farming it like we're showing today. So I thought I'd just throw that in there briefly, just so you guys are aware of some changes that might be happening to make it somewhat easier in a sense, or versatile in who you can bring into the team. Because right now it is pretty one-dimensional with the taunt buffs that I've seen, and then also the speed farming methods with the reset and the newts. So let's just take this off now, and then showcase the team today. We are going to keep this one short and sweet, like Cornelia. Don't want to overcomplicate it. My enfeebled tank is going to be Vassal of the Sealed, who is a Secret Room champion. But in my second team, you can see here that I have got a... Where is it? We've got a Withered Crown, and this is somebody that I use on a consistent basis. But I just wanted to show two different variations in both of the comp styles that we're showing, with and without the Riho Bonespear. But he can easily be swapped out for the Withered Crown, or somebody that kind of does the abilities that he does. Now, what it comes down to is that he's got this Daemon Possession, which can balance the HP of all allies, and the HP levels of all allies will be brought up to the level of the ally with the highest HP. And why this is important is when we're taking that smack, we're healing ourselves back up, therefore he's not going to die on the next abilities. So, very cool champion, or just anyone that does this balancing HP effect. I think is going to be very powerful for the Phantom Shogun and might be overlooked by a lot of people out there. But yeah, let's just showcase him for the variation today. I'm not really stacked with blessings apart from my Whisper here. So there we go. We took a smack. Boom, boom, boom. Decreased crit rate is phenomenal. This is what makes Riho Bonespear amazing because for one champion, she's bringing everything on top of the cleanse. And it's really hard to replace that from a bunch of champions in the game. This is where Whisper comes through with some crazy damage. So boom, the spread happens here. We've got a speed tuned with the reset and the cleanse to go at this moment. Bless Bash goes through. Boom, boom, boom. Come through with our next piece of damage. And here comes the big smack in 415,000 damage. Now, why we are using Whisper once again is, if we just go in for a round 2 here, it's kind of like the collection of damage. Like, if we have a look at Gnut's max HP, which is capped, of course, on these bosses. Let's just reset this one. We got 3% resisted on that weaken. Definitely something that can happen. So, boom. Same kind of cycles. Drop defense and weaken goes out. Have a look at the Gnut's max HP, 409,000. So, if you replace Whisper with a Cold Heart, you'll only be seeing that cap once, right? But all of this Phantom Touch procs, her extra damage, and all of this added up, combined, actually leads to more than having that kind of option. So, let's just go through again here. But of course, I have made strategies in the past as well. I will leave all of my previous Shogun videos in the description below, so you guys can see some other variations that I've done in the past. You can see here, the burn tick comes through, and then kaboom, the boss is going to be finished, even without the extra turns from our Whisper and Relentless. But of course, when I've got my Wither Crowned in the mix, which I'm going to demonstrate in a second, I've actually got her with a Soul Reap Blessing, so when they get below a specific threshold, it just finishes up the job for me and keeps everything consistent at this 30-second basis with a best time of 26 seconds, down to good RNG and Whisper taking multiple attacks. But, you know, pretty sweet team, and it's something that I've been using for a super long time. Now, in terms of the presets for this one, of course, we're going to go into all the gears and the stats and masteries towards the end. We got the Bless Bash on a first priority. I do recommend a Reflex build if you can, if you don't have like the full reset and you're maybe using a Renegade. And also one thing that's worth noting is all of the champions that I'm using today are in the same builds that I would use elsewhere. My Prince Kaima, same build for Arena. Riho Bonespear for wherever I want to use her. Gnut for my Hydra boss teams and all of that good stuff. But I do recommend Reflex if you can get to the speeds that you need, whilst also getting the damage and the accuracy for elsewhere as well. But I had to switch up my build because when I use him in Hydra boss, I need him for his accuracy as well, for his weaken and decrease attack, and that's the reason for it. But beforehand, I did have him in Reflex when it was just pure damage, but it's all down to your preference. And then also Whisper's the same build that I'd use for the Dark Fae as well. So it's very cool to have the versatility of a team, put them into the Phantom Shogun, and not have to like lose out on using them elsewhere, right? Riho Bonespear, we've got a opener with the pressure points, you know, placing all of our debuffs, and then the first priority on the perfect body. Prince Kaima, we are blocking off this one, just the poisons, and a first priority on Seal of Magic. Whisper, we got first priority on the Unyielding Flurry, then leading into the A2, which can ignore defense upon having a weaken active. And then, of course, just a first priority and a locking off of this one, and just trying to play some extra burns. Why not, right? So yeah, pretty cool. And now let's head into the second team now. I actually just put this one together to you guys recently, just so you can see a variation without the Riho Bonespear. So let's head straight into it. And also, let me know in the comment section below, guys. Is this something that you wish to farm and want to see more videos on? Or are you just focused on other areas in the game at the moment? Like, of course, this is endgame content and stuff that you focus on to min-max your accessories later down the line. But in this team, just to like kind of break it down, and the reason for Nishak Vermin Lord, it's primarily for the decreased attack because we don't have the decreased crit rate coming out from our Wither Crowned here, or the Riho Bonespear, sorry. So I thought having some bombs in the mix, having some decreased attack, adding to some damage, in a high accuracy build that I'll be using for Bomb of the Dreadhorn, was just pretty cool to demonstrate, I guess. So hopefully here we can see Wither the Crown come through with that A1 ability. And right there, because all of the Enfeeble wore off, went for the person that he felt he can kill the easiest. So right there, we was a little bit short in terms of our damage that was popping out, but we'll still get the job done, no problem. So boom, just a few extra attacks. We'll try this one more time as well. And there we go, 57 seconds. But the best time for this one is around 42 seconds, from what I've seen, if I remember correctly. But it just comes down to like the RNG of our Phantom Shogun's procs, or Phantom Touch procs, sorry. Get my tongues in a twist. And also if you've got higher star blessings, like if you can implement a higher star for Brimstone, for instance, and all of that good stuff, you're going to see a more smoother run without the Riho Bone Spear in the team. We're following a very similar order here, right? We're increasing our turn meter as well, leading into battle. And this is where Reflex could come through as well, so Gnut can come through and do some bonus damage here. So boom. Hopefully we just need to get some nice attacks out here. Just need to get below that threshold, so this is going to be the example that I wanted to show you guys. There you go, extra attack goes on to the Ruella there. There's the extra damage. Soul Reap comes through and absolutely annihilates at 44 seconds for this one. So yeah, pretty cool concept, right? And something for players that don't have a Riho, but you might have some of these champions, could definitely come through and fulfill this role for your team. In terms of the presets for this one, very similar to what we just used in the previous run, is the Blessed Bash once again. Same kind of priorities here. First and second on the Unclean Banquet and all of that good stuff. Ruella, we've got a time offensive, but an opener with the no respite, which can place multiple debuffs, which not many epics can do, right, with the decreased defense, the weaken, and the decreased speed. And she's my champion with the higher star blessings, but everyone else is very minimal, apart from the Withered the Crown tier as well, with a 3-star. And mainly just for this Azure Redeemer to remove all debuffs and heal herself as well, which is pretty sweet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly rebuild my Withered the Crown one more time, just to put it in the other composition, so you guys can see how that works. And then we'll go into the stats and masteries to break everything down. So alright guys, I've just had to put the highest crit damage on my Withered the Crown with the Whisper, as I forgot that she has got a crazy damage in her build. So hopefully that this one can work just as a demonstration, as I have been using Vassal for a pretty long time, as I've been anticipating this video. There's her self-heal, of course. Boom, boom, boom. Come through the nukes. Might be a little bit out of sync because, of course, I was using the other champion, but should be good to go. There we go. There's some more debuffs coming out for our Whisper. We're now going to cleanse it. Come through the Blessed Bash once again. Boom. Take a bit of a smack, no problem. Big damage coming through. There we go. 431,000 damage in 33 seconds. Pretty sweet. With my optimal tune, it can go as low as the 26, as you see there. But really cool just to see the different variations with the Wither and the Vassal. But the reason why Vassal is a pretty cool champion as well is, I know that a bunch of you guys, especially when I did my guide video, was like, oh, I haven't got a use for this champion, you know, where am I going to use them? And I think having him for that core team, so you don't have to use champions such as Wither, is actually a good idea when you've got that champion, right, from the secret rooms. So the way that I built him is basically enough speed, in the right speed ratios, of course, to be able to heal himself, because we got the cleanse from the Riho Bone Spear, with the highest crit damage, and that's all I was caring about in this build, the right speeds and the right crit damage. Masteries, I had an accuracy just for other areas in the game, but not really made for the Phantom Shoguns, because I don't really care about his burn abilities. This one here, if you've got a reset, no need for the cleanse, and can balance the HP of all allies, and the HP levels will be brought up to the ally with the highest HP. And that's kind of what we're using to just simply keep him alive, right? My Ruella today was going pretty fast, to be fair. I used her in some dark phase situations for budget guides and stuff. I'm going at 259 speed. Crit rate and crit damage, I didn't optimize whatsoever. And just enough accuracy to place our debuffs with the aura of our Gnut himself. We just went for like perception, stats over stats and all of that good stuff. Comes down to the drop defense, the weaken and the decreased speed, turn meter manipulation, and also a triple hit A1 paired with a Phantom Touch blessing, which deals some very good damage, right, over the course of the battle. Masteries, we've gone down to the Giant Slayer, of course. Let me just move myself out of the way. Boom, heading down to the Giant Slayer, and this kind of carries into the other areas of the game, like I mentioned prior. Nishak Vermin Lord in the exact same build I would be using for Bomb with the Dreadhorn. Highest attack, right? You know, this is the things that we want to do to one-shot Bommel. Speeds, 222. Crit rate and crit damage, no care in the world for, and enough accuracy to make sure we got our decreased attack out, and also our bomb debuffs that turn into those poisons. And you know, it's pretty sweet to have in there, deal some good damage, nothing crazy, but nice to have a bit of extra one for security. And very similar, heading down to the Giant Slayer, like I would use elsewhere. Whisper, I've got in a relentless build. I've been kind of building the foundations of her over time, because she's a champion I've just fell in love with over the past few months. She's got 6.5k attack, really high. 228 speed. A crit rate at 70% because she does crit rate boost herself, or if we're using with Ruella, she's going to boost it for you. Crit damage 263, and I don't really care about accuracy and stuff. Comes down to all of the extra turn mechanics. Of course, you want drop defense and weaken in the team to make full use of her. And she also has an extra turn mechanic in her passive as well. And we're going down to the War Master on this occasion with some Phantom Touch once again in terms of blessings. Gnut is in my Hydra build. I actually had to change it from Reflex to be able to get the accuracy in there. I was really struggling as I'm low on Reflex. But 242 speed for my Hydra, 100% crit rate, 222% crit damage, and 378 accuracy, which we can't use for this boss in particular. But if you want to, you can get some decreased attack out from this champion. Mainly just for the Blessed Bash, one-of-a-kind champion with some Giant Slayer in there as well, just to keep that consistent. Prince Kaima in my Arena build, going at 309 speed and high accuracy because that's just the way I like to use him in my Arena team, right? And carries the exact same speed tune. He's the fastest in my team, allowing us to get that reset off, and then kaboom, Seal of Magic puts in an amazing job. Now, for players out there that are thinking, oh, what about a Renegade? Well, I'm going to show like a video right now. It should be playing above. A big shout out to Saf from HH Gaming, who's actually got a variation of this team that we showcased today using the Renegade. So if you guys do want to have a way to see how that works, I'll leave this in the description below. And it's a pretty cool speed farming method as well for players that don't have the luxury of a Prince Kaima. So nice to see that there's other options out there, right? Who's a rare champion. And then last but not least, my Enfeeble tank in Wither the Crown. He was going at 265 speed in that final team, usually a little bit lower. Crit rate, crit damage, and all of that good stuff. You can see here that with my Vassal, he was at 223 speed. So when I'm trying to optimize my crit damage, this is kind of like the speeds I want to be going, right? A little bit slower, it's all good to go. But because in the other speed tune, she was my only cleanser because my Riho Bone Spear was taken out of the team, I had to take her up to the same caliber as I would with a Riho Bone Spear. So that's the reason why she's got a lot higher speeds here. But I just wanted to show you the variations just in case you guys didn't have one or the other, right? Also, I just wanted to speak about some other champions that might be able to fulfill that role. Let's just search up. Is it Walking Tomb Dreng? That's got a very similar ability. I'm not a big user of Walking Tomb, to be fair. So he's got the equalized HP of all allies that attacks one enemy. The HP levels will be brought up to the ally with the highest HP. So once again, another champion that could be fulfilling this role in your team, right? I believe Senesha does it, right? Like, this is a very high heal, guys. Like, maybe... So she hits pretty good in terms of damage as well, but equalizes the HP as well and brings them up with the ally with the highest HP. So, you know, if you could keep her alive in the slot of a Wither the Crown, she could be an option as well, but that's in the Riho Bone Spear variation. If you're doing the solo one, she's kind of like a one-of-a-kind champion in a sense, in a way where she can heal, also play the role of Enfeeble tanks, whilst also doing a lot of other stuff like cleansing, right? But if you got the Riho, you could use someone like Senesha potentially, if you can keep her alive, with maybe some reaction accessories. But let me know in the comment section below, guys, who do you use for your Enfeeble tanks and what kind of teams do you use? So viewers here can actually check out the comps for some other variations. So yeah, on that note, that is going to be all for today's video, guys. If you did enjoy it, be sure to hit that like, subscribe button. And if you want to see a follow-up video of some new compositions once the changes goes live, because I'm not entirely sure how it's going to be working at the moment. Because as we mentioned before, like he cleanses all the buffs, so it's going to have to be very technical in terms of speed tuning. But if you guys do want to see that, let me know in the comment section and we'll try to get that done for you guys. So yeah, have an amazing rest of your day and I'll catch you all in the videos soon. Peace.